Growing your business can mean big-time logistical questions like, how are we going to keep up with all these local deliveries? Let Uber Direct offer you a helping hand. With Uber Direct, you take orders on your website, app, or by phone. Then drivers who are part of Uber's courier network pick them up from your store and deliver them to your customer's doorstep. Sounds simple, right? Delivery just got better with Uber Direct. Learn more at uberdirect.com. How do you market a brand like Jack in the Box? Hello, this is Jonathan Mays, Editor-in-Chief of Restaurant Business. And in this week's episode of A Deeper Dive, I speak with Ryan Ostrom, the Chief Marketing Officer for the San Diego-based burger chain. This is a complicated environment in the restaurant industry, and we wanted Ryan on the podcast to talk about how you market a brand in an environment like this. Ryan and I talk about the complexities of this market and about balancing the need for price-based promotions and customers' desire for better fast food. We talk about the difficulties of marketing these days, given the presence of mobile ordering and loyalty programs, as well as traditional media. We also talk about the chain strategy for new markets and its ability to make fun of its competitors. And because it's Jack in the Box, we talk about, you guessed it, tacos. We're talking marketing on A Deeper Dive, so please check it out. Okay, I am here with Ryan Ostrom. Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Excellent. Glad to be here.
All right, super. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Ostrom. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Jack in the Box. I consider one of the best QSR fast food brands out there, and we're located in the glorious San Diego, California. It's where Jack in the Box was born and raised 74 years ago. So it has a lot of history in the QSR space.
Mm-hmm. So now, how long have you been with Jack in the Box?
It's been right under 4 years. I grew up with Jack in the Box. I grew up in Arizona. It was a spot where I know I'm dating myself now, before cell phones. And so we would all meet at Jack in the Box, and then we'd all follow the cars to whoever knew where the party was. And so it was a late night spot for us before and after we went out. And it's nice to be back at a brand that I just grew up loving and eating most of my childhood.
Mm-hmm. So late night. Well, that's great because you got a late night picture right above your right shoulder.
Yep.
And that's kind of let's talk a little bit about that since that's kind of an area where Jack in the Box has always been strong. You lost a fair bit of that business coming out of the pandemic, and that's been sort of a main focus for you, hasn't it?
Yeah. When we look at our brand, we're a little different. We really focus on variety. We really focus on 24 hours, and we focus on an all-day menu. And what that means is if you want tacos for breakfast, great. If you want breakfast for dinner, great. And we just have a strong kind of connection to the late night guests. It's always been that way. And so 10 years ago, we rolled out the Munchie Meals. These are like big eats, big food. We sell a lot of those after 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. And it's because we're open 24 hours. I mean, we're either before the party or after the party, and sometimes during the party. And that's where a lot of our business comes from. And it's because of that variety aspect, because after you go out, you kind of have a hankering for different types of food. And we have tacos, we have chicken, we have burgers, we have a little bit of everything. And it makes my job a little tough, makes operational job a little tough, but it makes our brand stand out in the world of sameness sometimes that you get at other QSRs.
How important are tacos to that late night business?
Oh, very important. We shocking. We sell more tacos than any other item on our menu. So we have a saying, we're a burger place famous for its tacos, and we've been selling tacos for 30, 40 years, and we sell a lot of them. And to the point where now we have tiny tacos. We have LTOs, which is limited time only. We do monster tacos, and so it's just something that the other burger places don't have. And it is icon. You talk to people about Jack in the Box, they'll either say, I love the tacos or hate the tacos. And it's fine. People have an opinion, but we have a lot more people that love our tacos than hate them.
Mm-hmm. What is it about tacos? I mean, I didn't necessarily have you on here to talk about tacos, but now we're on the subject. So one time, let me tell you a story real quick because you'll like this one. I was sitting at a Jack in the Box restaurant. This is 10 years ago, I think. And I was with a franchisee, and we're just sitting there having lunch. He was talking about, it's a Jack in the Box franchisee. He was just talking about the brand, and And he points out all the tables. He's like, look at every single one of these tables. Every single one of them has a taco. Every single one of them has a taco. What is it about these tacos? Why is that? What is it? What's the draw?
I mean, I'll tell you, I love the taste of them, and they're so satisfying. I mean, they are also deep fried tacos, and so they come in, we deep fry them, we add just a slice of American cheese, we add lettuce, we have our taco sauce that everyone really loves, and it's a way to get that nice crunch with great flavor from the meat, and it tastes great and it's satisfying. And what we find is a lot of people order that on top of their regular meals. It's an add to their current order. And I don't know anybody of our fan favorites that doesn't add 2 tacos every order. And it's great. I mean, like I said, we've even expanded the tiny tacos because some people like to snack tacos. And we have monster tacos, which is twice the size of our regular tacos. And they just taste good. They're hard to make a little bit because you deep fry them and then you got to open them and put the cheese and lettuce in. And they're a little hot. But at the end of the day, they're just so satisfying. And I'll tell you, nothing goes better than late night after going out a couple tacos from Jack in the Box.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it sort of like the perfect, like it's kind of in some respects, it is like a dream item because like a lot of people add them to their orders, but it draws in a certain type of customer at certain times of day. You don't really think of, you don't think it's a burger chain, but you sell a lot of tacos. It's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, they are the perfect food. I mean, that's what I think. They're not that filling, but they're just the right amount that everybody wants to have them. And I mean, I've now working here, I try them, I dip them in ranch. They taste amazing with ranch, which is a crazy thing to say with a taco. Despite our taco sauce being so great, and they're part of every single order I do at Jack in the Box. I love the food. I love the tacos. I am also biased to our spicy chicken sandwich. It's another item that's been on our menu forever. That's my go-to. And our secret item that everybody loves is our churros. And so here we are. We have tacos. We have chicken. Our churros, I can go to fancy restaurants and try their gourmet churro. Ours are better than that. And they're just so to die for that I tell everybody who's never been to Jack in the Box to try our churros.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do you market a brand with a wide and at times unexpected menu, like that? I'm like, when you go in and think, all right, we've got to figure out ways to talk to customers. How do you get that across, a menu like that?
And it's not easy. I think it's all about just really pushing the fact as we have our commercials, we showcase our items, that we show variety. We show that we have regular fries and curly fries, that we have chicken. So we're not just promoting the LTOs. We're also trying to say, here's the other core items that fill out your potential guest wants and needs. And it's not easy because we can easily go down rabbit holes and show everything we have. But I think the people who really are brand loyals understand this. They know that if you oversleep past 11 o'clock at night or during the morning, you can still come to Jack in the Box and get breakfast at noon. You can, if you work late nights and your late night is 6 a.m. because you work at night, you can come in and you can get dinner. You can get late night. You can get tacos. You can get what you crave. And that's really what we stand for, is you can get what you crave. And we all have different cravings at different times. Some of that is, like I said, based on your schedule and your time. Other is because you went out, you had a great night, you had some drinks, and you're like, I'm really craving, I want curly fries, a taco, and a chicken sandwich. That's what I crave after I go out and enjoy an evening. And we satisfy those cravings, and bringing that to life really takes, I would say, kind of that our CEO, which we naturally is Jackbox. And if you don't know who our CEO is, he's kind of the big head right over my shoulder a little bit. He represents everything we stand for, is providing the best guest experience, providing the best variety, and really breaking the rules of our industry, which is you have burger players, you have chicken players, you have taco players. We do all of it. You have hours where you can't sell breakfast. No, we don't. We actually serve it all day. We break the rules because we're here for the people, and we're doing our best to satisfy all those cravings.
Mm-hmm. So, these right now, as in September 2024, the restaurant industry is in sort of a tough spot on balance. It's an odd year. Consumers have been frustrated by price increases. They've been cutting back on their dining. The industry is as competitive as it's ever been because there are a lot of restaurant chains, and there is a limited number of overall visits, and that limited number is going down. How do you think, when you as a marketer, what should be your priorities in a situation like this for a company like Jack in the Box, and how do you do
Well,
it?
I mean, the first thing is not to panic. I mean, the first thing we can all do in panic and question ourselves and doubt ourselves and make quick decisions. I think as a marketer, we really have to put the guest first, and we have to say, hey, how do we satisfy the guest's needs? And I think what's really changed since COVID and change in the industry is there's a blurring of QSR and QSR plus and fast casual. They're all merging together because every digital has kind of made everybody on the same level. It's made convenience very easy. And so what people want to do is feel happy about what they're paying for. I mean, they're not ashamed to go to Chipotle and pay $15 for a bowl. They're happy for that, and they enjoy that. So we need to make sure they're happy coming to Jack in the Box and paying $8 for a combo or even $5 for a combo. We need to reach that satisfaction of the guest. And so it looks at making the best food and redefining what value is, because in history, it used to be the value wars, but I think value is different today. It's literally making sure that people are happy with what they're paying, no matter what price that is. And so with us, you see us really focusing on how do you make our burgers more premium. We rolled out with the Smash Jack, which is a more premium meat, more all North American-based meat. It tastes amazing. It's juicy. It's the biggest patty, and it was rated the best burger in QSR. That is what we're trying to elevate our brand. But at the same time, because of that emergence, not only do we have those premium guests, we still have value guests. And so we have to balance that out with what's affordable, like our tacos. Our tacos, you can still get on the app 2 for 99 cents. You can get it in stores, in many of our stores, 2 for $1.49. Still very affordable, still filling. But it's making sure we balance that barbell strategy out of making sure we have the premiumness that is required when you go after the fast casual players. And those guests will also maintain value for those people who, are literally looking for food on a daily basis for lunch and dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Smash Jack, by the way, really, really killed it for you guys, didn't it? I mean, you were running out of supply at some locations.
Yeah, it did well. Our first launch sold out. It's now become a staple of our menu, and it's still running at a solid mix. So it's great to roll out a new burger and have it mixed pretty high in our assortment. And we're not done there. We're going to keep trying to look at our products and where we can make them better. How can we improve our core is what we really talk about, because we're consumers too. And we want to make sure we have the best burger, the best tasting burger. It's juicy, it's fresh, it meets your expectation as a consumer. And so you'll see us continue to evolve a lot of our core SKUs and a lot of our products to make sure they're better and better tasting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about, like, you sold out of that pretty quick. It did so well that you sold out of that pretty quick.
Yeah.
And like we've seen this actually happen with some regularity in the last couple of years. Is that just like that? What's going on there? I mean, like, is social media fueling so much demand of some of these burgers that people like just flood to the restaurants quickly? Or is it some sort of planned supply limitation?
No, I think they're not really planned. I think what happens in our industry, we do a lot of test and learning. We have test markets. We tested this product. We have certain performance based on those test markets. But things change when you roll those out system wide. And when you roll out system wide, word of mouth picks up, social picks up, people start talking about it. And it starts becoming a snowball effect where you had a plan and that plan has to pivot. And like everything, like if you're in a boxing match, you get hit in the face, you have to be like, how do we move? How do we pivot? And that's what we just had to do in this. And we sold out really fast when we went system, because we were going to do a slow rollout, and our slow rollout sold out. And that just made us have to pivot because it pushed off a lot of our execution for the next 4 or 5 weeks. And unfortunately, in that time, we disappointed some guests because they're coming trying to try it. We didn't have it. And so then you have to bring it back in. You have to get inventory. And it's still performing and meeting our expectations. And I think as we continue to look at in the future, we're going to continue to evolve off that Smash Burger platform and create really unique solutions for our guests.
Right. That's got to be a challenge. I mean, I think today social media, social media has been around a decade now. I mean, we should be accustomed to this, but it still has a considerable capacity to completely surprise us. And I think that today restaurant companies probably need to do more to contend with what social media can do to a brand, because we've seen social media fuel like really intense demand at a number of
Yep.
chains almost overnight, and we've seen it also actually have the opposite effect where social
Correct.
media causes people to pull back. I mean, I think Starbucks has been going through that right now, and we've seen other chains have similar issues. Like, I think social media has a massive impact, more of an impact, I think, on restaurants, and I think people really appreciate it. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
think I am.
think we really lean into social. We have a marketing strategy called craved, and crave stands for cultural, relevant, authentic, visible, easy, and distinctive. And the heart of that is it's a barometer that we do everything, but especially our social channels. And that authentic piece comes out, the distinctive piece comes out, especially the cultural relevant piece, trying to create content that really ties to our product, ties to influencers. And we do things a little differently. Like, we're not going to script influencers. We want people's real reactions. We partner with influencers that live in their worlds versus have them come into our worlds. And that's because everybody has a Jack story. Everyone engages Jack differently because there are varieties. We want that to come to life. And also having somebody like Jackbox, our CEO, which if you really follow us on social, you'll see some really interesting social stuff from our fan. We have fan art on our CEO. I'll do air quotes. That is sometimes questionable. It's entertaining, but sometimes questionable. And we have this presence on social that has really got our brand recognition, even in states we don't even belong in today. And so we're excited, and the power of social is key. Like you said, it can be good, it can be bad, and we're really leaning into it, trying to push it and make it really ownable by the influencers, really understanding our brand and tying naturally into their content versus us trying to tell them how to produce our content.
Mm-hmm. Does that you have had some pretty successful openings in some new markets, and as you mentioned, Jack in the Box action, and I would say this is 100% true. Like, Jack in the Box probably is probably better known than if throughout the United States than if you look at Jack. In fact, I'm looking at one right now. Look at where Jack in the Box locations are on a map, and it's pretty
Yeah.
heavy Southwest in Texas.
Yep.
But it has certain amount of name recognition well beyond that. I mean, that has to make your job a little easier, or when you try to expand into new markets.
Yeah. I think it's I'll tell you, it's because of social, like you said, the power of social. It has really improved our ability and brand power in new markets. I think if you go about 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, before social was an everyday item on everybody's phone, we'd have to buy TV ads introducing who the brand is. We don't have to do that anymore. People know who we are. They're demanding for us. And so as we rolled out in Salt Lake City, we rolled out in Louisville, we can show up and have a lot of fun. In Louisville, we bought billboards, making fun of the competition. We do the same thing when we start rolling out in Chicago. We're going to be rolling out Florida soon, and Orlando and other places. We have opportunity in new markets, big markets, to have fun, bring that passion of our brand, that crave strategy that is authentically us. We're not afraid to get our hands dirty versus the competition, to discuss why we're better, why we do things differently. But we don't have to do the brand lift we used to. Now it's just making sure we're authentic to who everyone sees us on social and bringing that to life in these new markets. So yes, it does make the job a little bit easier. Opening new markets, though, is never easy because there's not a lot of brands out there that say they still have about the whole east of the Mississippi available still to grow. And so we want to get back into New York. We want to get back into the East Coast, and we have a long way still to go over the next 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So does Jack, now you mentioned you took out billboards actually making fun of your competition.
Yes.
Do you have, you guys have permission to do stuff that other brands don't, do you not? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have the capability to push the boundaries a little bit. And it's not like it's illegal or anything. We just, at the end of the day, we believe in our food. We believe in our offering. And we believe we have the competitive spirit to go after the competition. Like, we're not afraid to go after McDonald's and their ice cream machines. We're not afraid to go after, we launched in Louisville, and, our billboards basically said, boxes, not buckets. And we really are going to have that little bit of swagger that Jack Box has always had since he was introduced in 1994 or 93, and really bring that to life in everything we do. And we have old ads. You can pull up old Jack ads. We've always talked about the competition. We've always been really confident about who our brand is, and we're not going to stop doing that. And I think it provides a little bit of aspect of who we are. We try to be better than the competition. We try to have fun with it, and we enjoy our brand in general. And I think bringing that to new markets is fun. I mean, we're talking about how do we launch in Chicago? That's a thing we're talking about this week. And, that's going to be the home of McDonald's. And when we roll out, in Chicago, we have to be like, okay, how do we talk about our brand differently? How do we show up differently? And those are the things that we get excited about over here in marketing.
Are you going to make fun of the ice cream machines?
We already did that once. We actually bought the largest billboard in LA, and we actually bought it near the McDonald's. And so during St. Patty's Day, we had the largest billboard in LA that was right over a McDonald's, asking them, it was called McShammed. And we asked them, is their ice cream machine working on the big billboard? And he said, well, don't worry, Jack's is. And so we will go after people. We'll have good conversation, spirited fun, and we'll enjoy banter too if the brands want to get into it. But that's just who our brand is. We're able to do some things that other brands won't, and that explains to who we partner with. I mean, we partnered with Snoop Dogg. We've partnered with Ice Cube. We've partnered with authentic individuals who love our brand, who grew up in California, who Ice Cube made a song about Jack in the Box about 20 years ago, and really bringing these authentic relationships to life because we've been part of culture in California, being a San Diego brand.
Mm-hmm. So what are your, from a marketing perspective, what's your priorities, I think, for like, say, the next year or two at Jack in the Box?
I think what it kind of stems to what you kind of said is we're in a weird environment right now. It's still a challenging environment. So I think some of this is how do you tackle the basics? How do you make sure you're providing the right value to the guests? We have the right menu, the right LTOs, and at the same time, making sure we're not just focused on the short term. I learned this from Greg Creed, sales overnight, brand over time. We just can't keep focusing on sales overnight in these tough times. It's easy to do. It's the go-to. How do we sell more? How do we sell more? But we have to continue to build that brand, that cultural relevance. And I think over next year is that balance. It's making sure that we still focus on those sales overnight. We start tackling the 101s, doing social right, doing the calendar right, doing the pricing right, but then also making sure we still are building these partnerships and relationships that create that cultural relevance of the brand over the next year. And that balance is key, but that makes our job fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a really good point. One of the issues, one of the risks in in an environment like this is you have a lot of restaurant companies right now that are really looking for ways to get customers in the door.
Sure.
And you can get desperate in a time like this, I think. And that ends up creating an environment in which you potentially could discount something too much, or you discount the wrong thing. And then, maybe you have some success with it. You continue that value strategy for a little bit. And then customers get to know you as more of a value player than you really want to be. And then that creates long-term headaches. One of the things that, for instance, this Subway is still 10 years after
$5 footlong.
The $5 footlong. They're still paying that price for that.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that's an extreme example, but I mean, we've seen it time and again. And then it takes brands a long time to recover from that.
Yeah, and it's about understanding. Like I spent time at Reebok in my history too, and I was fortunate to work at Reebok when they created all the hip hop shoes in the RBK line, and they created the G Unit line, and that was driving sales for Reebok over and over again. So what they did is they leaned into that so much so that then it started showing up everywhere, and then it diluted the power of it, and then it diluted that brand, and then all of a sudden, like you said, everything just went down with it. And that's always the fear when you think about it in our business today is we don't want to be known as a value brand. We want to be known as a place for great food that is affordable. And that's a very nuanced there, but it means a lot. And so I think a lot of this will be also is, where do you provide value? Do you provide value at the store? Do you provide it online? Do you provide it to your loyalty guests? And making sure you're segmenting your value to target the right people at the right time with the right message. And that is a way to balance that kind of, hey, we're not all about the lowest price. We're about providing the best guest experience, and based on where you're at in your journey, providing you with the best item at the best price then. And so I think this is where we are nuanced, and digital is really starting to catch up. I mean, I spent a lot of time at Sears Holding Company and other traditional retailers. They were ahead on where digital and e-commerce and targeted marketing and leveraging loyalty comes from. And I think QSR is now at that point where you have McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger Kings, and us all having loyalty programs, capturing names and leveraging those differently, and providing a smaller set of groups more offers and more deals than just saying, hey, on TV, we have the lowest price, come to us. And I think it's measuring that balance, measuring the challenge. And that's the thing about our job today, is it's only getting harder, is because marketers used to just say, oh, I just need to put an ad on TV. Now we have to deal with streaming. We have to deal with what TV, Samsung versus LG. You have to do, traditional sports. You have like 4 or 5 different social channels. You have so many different ways to reach the guests that have ADD, basically, that it's fun and a challenge, and how to get the right message to the right people. That's what's going to drive this business in the future, is really leveraging technology, digital, customer data differently, and offers differently, for you kind of spread out what you're doing with the guests across your system.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the loyalty programs and the mobile app these days, I mean, when do you make a value offer available to everybody? When do you just put it on on the mobile app only to certain types of customers? I mean, marketing to your loyalty members is great and it can be very, very effective, but you can't forget about everybody else, because you got to get people to your doors. It just seems like your point, it seems just like really, really complicated period.
It is, but it's fun. I mean, that's why we're in this business. And you just said it, like, we have to feed the top of the funnel. We just can't focus on the bottom of the funnel. We can't just focus on your loyalty guests. We have to bring new people in. And so knowing who you are as a brand, being authentic to you as a brand, and really driving that message should drive those people in. And then making sure you start steering them into loyalty programs, downloading your app in different areas where they start becoming loyalty is key. And I think what makes it very interesting in the food business is general, and you probably live this way too, and I'm this way. I always consider guests go on runs. Like, we don't have habits. Like, maybe Starbucks and certain places have habits that you go to every morning. But when I eat at places, I go on runs. Like, I will sit and eat somewhere once, and I'm like, oh, that was really good. So I go twice that week, and then I go twice the next week, and then I don't know what happens. I don't go to them for another month. And it's just trying to trigger in that cue to say, hey, how do I get people to go back on that run of eating us over and over again, and reestablishing who we are as a brand? And I think that's really key. And with all these channels, it becomes a fun challenge that we have to live through with our media and our social channels.
Right. Ryan, this was great. Really appreciate you joining me this week on the podcast.
Thank you.
And that should do it for this week's episode of A Deeper Dive, which was edited, as always, by Spoons. Artwork by Nico Hines. You may find this and other episodes of the podcast on our website at www.restaurantbusinessonline.com/article/deeper-dive. And you may subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'm Jonathan Mays, your host, podcast producer, and the editor-in-chief of Restaurant Business. Thank you for listening. Growing your business can mean big-time logistical questions like, how are we going to keep up with all these local deliveries? Let Uber Direct offer you a helping hand. With Uber Direct, you take orders on your website, app, or by phone. Then drivers who are part of Uber's courier network pick them up from your store and deliver them to your customer's doorstep. Sounds simple, right? Delivery just got better with Uber Direct. Learn more at uberdirect.com.